Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The Miami Dolphins are diving deep into the free agent pool as training camp kicks off, with cornerback Rasul Douglas emerging as a prime target to bolster their secondary. The cornerback position has been a clear weak spot for the Dolphins, following the departure of Kendall Fuller and the shockwaves caused by the trade that ended Jalen Ramsey's Miami tenure. Rasul Douglas, an 8-year veteran with solid credentials, has been linked repeatedly to Miami, highlighting the urgency for the team to secure a reliable starter in the secondary. Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald confirms ongoing contract discussions between the Dolphins and Douglas, signaling that the talks are serious and possibly nearing a conclusion. Miami's need for defensive backfield stability makes Douglas a logical candidate, especially given the team's cap constraints and the limited options in free agency. The Dolphins' management appears focused on addressing this glaring need promptly as they prepare for the upcoming season, understanding the importance of solid defensive backfield play in today's NFL landscape. Despite the market for Rasul Douglas being somewhat quiet this offseason, the Dolphins remain optimistic about landing the veteran cornerback. Douglas's recent career has seen a mixture of solid performances and a noticeable dip last season with the Buffalo Bills, which might explain the subdued interest around him. Buffalo has moved forward without him, and the Green Bay Packers don't seem to be in the picture for a reunion. However, other teams could view Douglas as a valuable summer acquisition to strengthen their roster depth and competitiveness. Financially, Douglas and the Dolphins were reportedly close to an agreement earlier in the month, and considering Miami's limited cap space around $2 million, any deal will have to be modest. The Dolphins appear willing to invest strategically, balancing fiscal responsibility with the pressing need to improve their secondary, especially in a division filled with high-powered offenses, where defensive versatility is critical. Rasul Douglas's experience and production cannot be overlooked as Miami weighs its options. The former third-round pick boasts 80 career starts and has amassed 14 interceptions over the past 3 seasons, showcasing his knack for making impactful plays in the secondary. While his 2023 season was underwhelming compared to previous years, his track record suggests that with the right scheme and environment, he can regain his form. For a Dolphins defense that struggled in coverage last season, Douglas's ability to disrupt passing lanes and provide veteran leadership could be exactly what the coaching staff is looking for. Given the financial limitations and roster needs, Douglas's profile fits the mold of a practical yet potentially high-impact signing. Miami is clearly betting that he can return to his previous levels of play and help stabilize a cornerback unit that desperately needs reinforcement. Meanwhile, the Dolphins are not just focused on outside additions, but also keeping an eye on their defensive line, particularly on Zach Sieler, who has become a cornerstone of Miami's front seven. Sieler, a defensive tackle known for his tenacity and ability to pressure quarterbacks, is coming off back-to-back seasons with 10 sacks each, a remarkable feat for an interior lineman. The team holds 2 years left on his contract with significant cap hits scheduled, but an extension talks loom on the horizon. Despite the financial implications, Miami will be keen to keep Sieler happy and locked in for the long haul, given his consistent production and growing importance to their defensive schemes. Reports indicate that no training camp holdout will occur, suggesting a mutual desire to keep things smooth and productive as negotiations continue. Agent Drew Rosenhaus recently confirmed that Sieler will be present for the start of training camp, dispelling any concerns about a holdout or friction during this critical preseason phase. Rosenhaus also noted that Sieler's participation in on-field practices will be decided internally between himself, the player, and the Dolphins. This approach is common for players seeking contract extensions. They often attend training camp to avoid fines, but may hold back from full participation until a deal is struck. This signals that both sides are maintaining professional and respectful communication lines. For a player of Sieler's caliber, ensuring he stays engaged and motivated during camp is crucial, as his performance can influence contract terms and the team's overall defensive outlook. Zach Sieler's rise from a 7th-round draft pick to a vital defensive starter for the Dolphins is an inspiring story of perseverance and development. Over 4 years, his workload has steadily increased, culminating in a full-time starting role since 2022. His contributions have been significant in Miami's defensive success, particularly with his ability to consistently bring pressure and disrupt opposing offenses. The Dolphins' willingness to extend him in 2023 with a $10 to $5 million per year deal reflected their belief in his potential and value. Durability has not been a concern for Sieler. He played a complete season post-extension and only missed a couple of games last year. This reliability adds weight to his case for a further extension, as the team looks to lock down its defensive core amid ongoing roster changes. However, the Dolphins are likely to approach Sieler's contract talks with caution, mindful of lessons learned from the Jalen Ramsey situation in 2024. Ramsey's early extension and subsequent fallout with coach Mike McDaniel led to a costly and disruptive trade, highlighting the potential risks of prematurely locking in players without ensuring long-term harmony. While Sieler's case is different and lacks such interpersonal complications, the front office will undoubtedly consider timing, financial impact, and team chemistry when negotiating his future deal. Balancing these factors will be key to maintaining Miami's competitive edge and avoiding distractions during what should be a critical phase of team building. The Sieler negotiations, combined with pursuit of outside secondary help like Douglas, frame an intriguing off-season story for Dolphins fans. The secondary's reinforcement remains a critical focus for the Dolphins, who have faced challenges with consistency and playmaking ability over recent seasons. The release of Kendall Fuller and the departure of Jalen Ramsey left glaring holes that need filling if Miami is to compete effectively in the AFC East. Rasul Douglas offers a blend of experience and proven ball skills that can help stabilize the backfield. His 14 interceptions over 3 seasons reflect his ability to generate turnovers, a valuable commodity in close games. Although his recent struggles may temper expectations, Douglas's signing would at least provide a steady veteran presence to mentor younger corners and contribute immediately. Miami's defense will be tested early and often, making the addition of a dependable cornerback all the more pressing. Financial prudence remains a driving factor in the Dolphins' offseason moves, as the team has roughly $1 million in cap space heading into training camp. This limitation shapes the nature of contracts they can offer and necessitates savvy maneuvering to acquire needed talent without compromising future flexibility. The Douglas talks appear to fit this strategy, aiming for a cost-effective yet productive signing. On the other side of the ball, managing Sieler's contract extension will require careful negotiation to ensure that the Dolphins keep their defensive anchor without overburdening the salary cap. These financial considerations underscore the complexity of building a competitive roster in today's NFL, where every dollar counts and cap management often dictates personnel decisions as much as on-field talent. As the Dolphins prepare to open training camp, all eyes will be on how these key storylines unfold. Rasul Douglas's potential signing could reshape the secondary's dynamics, providing much-needed depth and experience. Meanwhile, Zach Sieler's contract extension talks will serve as a barometer for the team's commitment to maintaining a strong defensive identity. The front office must balance urgency with caution, keeping the locker room stable while addressing glaring needs. Fans will be watching closely, hoping these moves translate into on-field success and a return to playoff contention. With these developments in motion, the Dolphins are clearly setting the stage for an intriguing and pivotal season ahead, one that could redefine the team's defensive fortunes and overall competitiveness in the league. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? The NFL world is in total shock right now as rumors swirl around one of the most electric playmakers in recent memory, TYREEK Hill. The buzz coming out of multiple league insiders suggests that the superstar wide receiver has officially parted ways with the Miami Dolphins and has done the unthinkable, signed with a direct rival in the AFC. While no official statement has been released by Hill himself or his new team just yet, several high-ranking sources claim the deal is done. The ripple effects of such a move could dramatically shift the balance of power in the conference, and fans are scrambling to process what this could mean. Hill, known for his blistering speed and game-breaking abilities, had become a cornerstone of the Dolphins' offense. The idea of him suiting up for another contender, possibly even against Miami, is already setting social media on fire and fueling endless speculation for Dolphins fans. This is more than just a gut punch, it's a betrayal that cuts deep. TYREEK Hill wasn't just another receiver on the roster, he was the guy, the heartbeat of an explosive offense that had hopes of making a deep playoff run. The timing of this news couldn't be more devastating. With training camps kicking off and teams finalizing their strategies, the loss of Hill sends the Dolphins into scramble mode. Sources close to the organization hint that this wasn't entirely unexpected, as contract negotiations had reportedly hit a standstill over the past few weeks. However, few believed that he would jump ship so suddenly, and certainly not to a direct rival. Some insiders are even suggesting that tensions had been simmering behind the scenes between Hill and elements of the coaching staff, particularly regarding play usage and route responsibilities, which may have fueled his decision to walk away. What's perhaps most jaw-dropping about this entire saga is where Hill is reportedly headed. The Buffalo Bills, that's right, the same team that's gone toe-to-toe with Miami for AFC East supremacy over the past few seasons. According to multiple insiders, Buffalo made a late but aggressive push to land Hill after catching wind that negotiations in Miami were faltering. The deal, rumored to be one of the richest ever given to a wide receiver in terms of guarantees, apparently blew other suitors out of the water. Imagine this: Josh Allen throwing bombs to Tyreek Hill. The mere thought is enough to make defensive coordinators lose sleep. It's a move that could potentially vault the Bills back into the top Super Bowl contender conversation, and for Hill, it represents not just a fresh start, but a chance to chase another ring with a team hungry for postseason success, of course. No blockbuster move like this comes without a wave of controversy. Already, fans are questioning Hill's motivations. Was this truly about winning, or was it all about the money? Critics point to the Dolphins' willingness to make him one of the highest-paid receivers in the league last year, wondering what changed so drastically in such a short time. Others argue that Hill has always had an eye on legacy, and perhaps he saw Buffalo's trajectory as more aligned with his personal goals. Whatever the case, this transfer is bound to be dissected from every angle, from locker room chemistry to fantasy football implications. The ripple effect will be enormous. Some league executives even wonder if this deal might spark a new wave of player movement within the AFC, as stars take note of how aggressively the Bills went after their target. It's not just a signing, it's a statement. Let's not forget how dominant Hill was in Miami since arriving from Kansas City. He took the Dolphins' offense to new heights, breaking records and turning Tua Tagovailoa into a legitimate top-tier quarterback. His departure now puts a glaring spotlight on the young QB, who will face enormous pressure to perform without his favorite deep threat. How will Miami adjust? Do they trust their current receivers to step up, or will they look to bring in another star? Names like T. Higgins, Courtland Sutton, or even a reunion with Jarvis Landry have been floated in early speculation. Either way, the Dolphins' front office now has a major hole to fill, and fans are demanding answers for a franchise that had finally begun to believe it was on the cusp of greatness. This development is nothing short of a nightmare, and it might only get worse if Hill lights it up for Buffalo. Across the AFC, coaches and analysts are already recalculating playoff probabilities and drawing up new game plans. If the Bills really did land Tyreek Hill, it shifts the entire landscape. We're talking about a team that already had a top 5 defense, one of the best young quarterbacks in the league, and now adds a receiver who can score from anywhere on the field. The idea of Hill running wild in the snow at Highmark Stadium is as terrifying as it is exhilarating. What does this mean for the Kansas City Chiefs, or the Ravens, or the Bengals? All of a sudden, the AFC arms race has a new frontrunner, and every rival will be forced to adapt. Meanwhile, rumors are emerging that Buffalo isn't done yet. They're reportedly exploring moves for another elite tight end to pair with Dalton Kincaid. It seems this franchise is going all in, and Hill's signing could be just the beginning. Behind the scenes, the NFL community is buzzing with intrigue. How did Buffalo pull this off? Insiders say it came down to a mix of smart cap maneuvering, player persuasion from Josh Allen himself, and Hill's own desire to prove he can win without Patrick Mahomes or Mike McDaniel. There's talk that Allen and Hill had been in contact for weeks, possibly even months, discussing the possibility of teaming up. If true, it opens up a new chapter in player-driven recruitment. Stars calling other stars, setting up their own super teams. It's a trend that's already taken over the NBA and could be gaining serious traction in football. The front office magic behind this move will likely be studied by G-Miz across the league. For now, though, fans are left stunned at how quietly this massive deal came together, and how quickly it turned into the story of the offseason. Even Vegas has reacted. The odds for Buffalo to win the Super Bowl reportedly jumped significantly within hours of the rumor breaking. Sportsbooks everywhere are adjusting futures bets as fans rush to get in early, believing this acquisition might finally push the Bills over the hump. Meanwhile, Miami's odds have dropped not drastically, but noticeably. The psychological blow to the team cannot be overstated. Coaches now must rally a shaken locker room, leaders must step up, and younger players must accelerate their development. It's a moment of truth for the Dolphins. Was their recent success a fluke carried by one transcendent talent? Or can they evolve and thrive in his absence? Either way, this is a defining moment in the franchise's modern history, and for Buffalo, it's a clear signal. They're no longer interested in just contending, they want to dominate. Social media, as expected, is an inferno of reactions. TYREEK Hill is trending worldwide. Dolphins fans are expressing heartbreak and betrayal, while Bills Mafia is throwing digital parties in every corner of the internet. Memes, hot takes, and wild conspiracy theories are flooding every feed. Some users are convinced this was planned all along, even suggesting Hill never intended to finish his career in Miami. Others are digging up old interviews and cryptic tweets, trying to find clues in hindsight. It's a content gold mine for NFL pundits, YouTubers, and podcast hosts, many of whom are already crafting deep dives into how this shocking transfer came to be. It's the kind of sports moment that transcends the game, a cultural shift that keeps fans talking for weeks. One thing's for sure, no one saw this coming. And the season hasn't even started yet. So what's next? That's the question on everyone's mind. Will TYREEK Hill speak publicly in the coming days to explain his decision? Will the Dolphins respond by making a bold move of their own? Could other AFC stars follow suit and jump ship in pursuit of better opportunities? The offseason just got a whole lot more interesting, and the regular season now carries even more intrigue. Every Dolphins-Bills matchup is about to become must-watch television, dripping with drama and revenge narratives. It's a storyline that writes itself, and the NFL schedule makers might already be thinking about flexing that matchup into prime time. For now, all we have are the rumors, the whispers, and the chaos, but sometimes that's all it takes to ignite a firestorm that changes the league forever. Buckle up, folks. The TYREEK Hill era in Buffalo might be just beginning, and it could get very real very fast. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.